Recording in progress. Well, it is official. I love saying those words. It's time to get our property tour kicked off. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. What a beautiful Saturday morning. Wherever you're logging in from this morning, I know in the chat room we had a lot of people typing in what city and state you're from. We really appreciate that. My name is Scott Buckholtz. I'm your host for the property tour. We also have Yas Hakan, our co-host. We love doing these every Saturday morning because we get the privilege and honor of sharing an investor or a team of investors, kind of their story, kind of like their history, what they were doing before they became an investor. They get to share a current deal that they're doing, whether it's a fix and flip, whether it's an apartment building, whether it's a long-term rental, midterm rental, short-term rental, wholesale deal. There's a ton of different strategies. So we get to share what they're doing. And today we're so excited because we got Shanda O'Dennis back on. Shanda was with us about, 6 or 7 months ago when she was just wrapping this project up and starting to rent it out. And now it's full gear. So we're going to be able to see some latest updated pictures, plus some really current numbers. So very excited. If we could keep everybody on mute today, that would really help out too, because it's just the background noise kind of, boggles things down, and it affects everybody's being able to hear everything clear. And we only have about an hour. We like to keep these to an hour because we don't want to, take up a lot of your time on a Saturday. But we definitely think you're going to gain a lot of knowledge from this and a bunch of golden nuggets that you're going to be able to take away. So we really appreciate this. And we do these every Saturday morning. So we'd love to have you back next Saturday, the Saturday afterwards, and so forth. So let's go ahead and kick this off, and let's bring out Shanda. You can go ahead and share your screen there, Shanda.
Good morning, everyone. I was trying to get myself off mute. As Scott so graciously introduced me, my name is Shanda O'Dennis. I live in right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So my property is in Prospect Park, which is right situated near the Philadelphia airport. So that's important with regards to the strategy that I chose and pivoted to. So should I just share my screen and get into it?
Well, no, Shanda, in just a second though.
Okay.
I'm excited to see the current pictures too and all that stuff. But it's, we've got a lot of people on today, Shanda, that are checking this property tour out. They're checking the community out. They're trying to figure out, what is this real estate investing all about? There's been such a buzz for the last few years about short-term rentals, midterm rentals, and they're just trying to figure it out, and if this community is where they want to be. Because I know when I first found the community 7.5, almost 8 years ago, I had done the books and I had watched videotapes, things like that, and then I found this community and I went to a couple events and kind of something like this, except we weren't doing these live online at the time. They were in person. Yeah. And I was like bubbling, so fired up, excited. I was like, this is the group of people I want to be with. You know what I mean? So let's tell a little bit about who Shanda O'Dennis is, kind of like what you were doing, kind of your story a little bit, maybe how you found real estate investing, kind of like how you came about it. Mm-hmm. And then I love that one of the most important things, okay, is that why you chose and said, hey, I want to connect with this community. That's a national community of investors. So yes, go ahead, take it over from there.
Great question. So let me tell you what my profession is right now. I am a full-time real estate investor. I also do some consulting work, with helping nonprofit organizations and some life coaching and things like that. So my previous career, when I had a W-2 job, I was an administrator for a agency, a company, state-funded company that serves people with disabilities, in particular people with cognitive, so IDD, developmental disabilities, things of that nature. So we ran residential group homes, day programs, all those sorts of things. And I was an administrator for that for many, many years. Started out as direct care when I was very young, was in the industry for over 30 years. During COVID, like with most people who were impacted, I made a pivot with my career. I was home. I was able to really sit down and think and say, what do I want to do? Well, I had always been doing real estate ever since I was young, in a very passive way, though. So I bought my first house at 23. And so when I moved out of my family's home, like going to college, I moved into a home that I owned. And then from that point, when I started like my career and stuff, where I moved to the area where I was working, I never sold that house. I just kind of rented it. So it was like, I wasn't really like into full-time real estate investment, but I had like a passive, relationship with real estate. I would have one rental, that kind of thing. What got me into this, so when COVID came, like I said, I was home making a shift. I had the opportunity to sit down and really focus on my entrepreneurial spirit. And so I just said, well, what's going on? And I have a girlfriend that I used to work with, and she is somebody that I partner with. I have a girlfriend I used to work with, and she and her husband were into real estate, and I stumbled across this education. The person that introduced me to education for real estate in this community asked my cousin. My cousin was not able to. She was in law school. So she says, hey, why don't you connect with my cousin? She's into real estate passively. Maybe she might want to be a part of the community. I came a part of the community. I got educated. I always feel like if you're going to do something, be educated, be, informed. And I was off and running. That's how it happened.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. So you kind of met somebody through somebody, and so what was like the first thing you saw in our community? Did you go to like a meeting or a property tour, or did you see something online? What was it? Not, you don't have to give details about it, but how did you get exposed to the group?
Yeah, I did see a property tour, and I was like, that's interesting. I saw people actually really doing it and telling the nitty gritty of it. I like to get into the weeds, just to kind of get an understanding. And then also I attended one of the classes, and the information that I got, I remember it was tax and legal. My mind was blown. I had never heard this information. And I'm saying, I am a pretty smart person. Why don't I know any of this? So that is really what really got me salivating over the community and the education.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you shared that. So you bought your first house at 23,
I did.
okay? And so you've been connected, like you said, to real estate for many, many years. You found our community. You've got this property. You're going to tell us all about it here in a minute or so.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I know I experience pretty much on a daily basis. Anytime, if I leave my house or I'm on the phone, or let's put it this way, if I leave my house or I'm on the phone, I'm always bringing up real estate investing. That's just my nature. I bring it up. People ask me what I do. If I'm at the grocery store or wherever I'm at Home Depot picking up a bunch of materials. They're like, wow, you're building a house. Are you remodeling? Are you DIY? Conversations start, right?
Yes.
And so I share with what I do. And a couple of the things that I really hear on a regular basis, Shanda, and I know what my mindset was 8 years ago when I found this community, but I hear this same thing that I can resonate with, that I kind of thought of 8 years ago. And that is, oh, I've always wanted to do real estate investing, but I don't have money.
Right.
And I can't do any deals.
Right.
And which is really a fallacy, right? It's a myth, or whatever you want to call it. And so I hear that all the time is like, if I could get money, I could become a real estate investor. If I have really good credit, I could be a real estate investor, right? And that's not the case. You want to kind of share a little bit about that, maybe?
Well, yes, through the education, I have learned that there are so many different sides of real estate investing. So in my mind, it was, buy a house and rent it, or buy a house and sell it. And that's what real estate investment was to me all of those years. But from being a part of the community and getting the education, I learned that there are so many different areas, levels, silos that you can be a part of based on your time, your money, what you have to offer. So I didn't know that you could be a private lender and invest. I didn't know that you could, this, I didn't know that it was, I knew it was buy and flip, buy and hold. I didn't know that you could partner with somebody if you had credit and they had money. I didn't know that you could, hey, I have no time, but I have the expertise. So I can basically, be a part of a group, whereas though I'm giving, I just didn't know that there were so many areas and ways that you could enter real estate investing besides, oh, I'm just buying and flipping or buying and renting. I just didn't know that.
That just reminded me of that saying that you know as well as I know, and that is you don't know what you don't know. And I don't, I really, it doesn't matter where you are in the stage of your life, whether you have a PhD or you have a master's or you don't have a college degree, but you have so much experience. You don't know what you don't know until you know things like you just said. It's like it opens things up. So I'm so glad you shared that. So the other thing I hear a lot too, Shanda, is I can't find a good deal. I can't find a deal. There's so many people out there looking for deals. I can't find them. I know we all went through a period here and things are starting to really adjust, but there was a time here over the last couple of years where everybody was asking way more money than what the properties were worth, and they were getting it, right? People were overpaying for properties. A little bit of that still probably is happening, but I know during a period where, like, I was looking at a property, running the numbers, and I'm like, I can only give 80,000 for this property with all the work that has to be done, and then I find out someone outbid me by $50,000, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, those numbers don't match up. And so, let's talk a little bit about how you came across this deal and kind of the little story on that, because it's kind of cool. I kind of remember it from 7 months ago.
So so just a little bit on what you were saying. There are deals everywhere, every day. You just have to, one, know where to look for them, and two, know what we call in the community creative acquisition strategies as to how to get them. There's negotiation skills and things of that nature. So this particular property, I think I may have used every strategy I knew. Everything, when I first joined the community, I was a complete sponge. Anything that I heard, and there were so many great there. I'm in the community in the northern eastern, where it's like New York, Philly, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I was just picking up information like crazy. So I actually found this property just driving. It is on a main route that I drive all the time. And there was a sign on the lawn and it was for sale. It was listed on the MLS. And I gave a call. So when I called, actually, what I didn't notice was there were two properties right next door to each other for sale. And I went in to see the one, which is the corner property, which is the one we're going to review today, because it was a multi. And I was really attracted to that. I understand that, when you have multi-units, you have multiple streams of revenue, and that gives you more income, but it also gives you more cushion. That if you have some vacancies or if you make mistakes, it's a little more giving, grace giving. So I went and I looked at this one and I said, oh my God, this is in pretty bad condition. I said, well, let me look at the one next door. Come to find out it was the same owner. The owner was older. He was selling off his portfolio. I was able to negotiate a monster deal to get both of them. I knew, and you say, why both? Whoa. When I ran my numbers, kind of what you were saying, Scott, I ran the numbers and I was like, oh God, getting this one by itself is going to be really, really tough. But if I get both of them, because of the condition of the other one, I knew that I just needed a little bit of, lipstick on the pig, as they say. And then I could easily rent it out. And some of those revenues could help me cover this one while I was doing all of the renovations. And boy, did it need a lot of renovations. So that's how I acquired it. I used negotiation skills. I did not pay full asking price. So yeah, I used everything in the kitchen sink to get it.
So I love that you share, you were driving your normal route and you saw the sign. And, it's a great story to share because I think everybody should take away from this is even if you're not ready to do a deal today, if you see signs, call them. Okay. It's a great learning experience. It's a great, find out what it's about. And a lot of times people will see signs and they'll just pass up on the signs or they won't call. One of the things I love doing is if I see a rental property that says for rent outside, I love calling that owner. And then I just tell them, I'm a real estate investor. Have you ever thought about selling your property? Most of the time they say no, right? But every once in a while, they say, you know what? I have been thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's about making those calls. And so that's kind of cool. You did that. You're just driving down the road, saw a sign, made a phone call, and something came together for you. So you acquired these properties, and the property we're going to talk about today is a multifamily short-term rental / mid-term rental. Plus, you actually have 4 income streams coming from this house, right? And
I do.
And I'm not going to steal your thunder, but
no, you're not. Please.
No. I'm not stealing your thunder because it sounds so much better coming from you than me. So, but four income streams, and yes. Which is when you were telling me these, about the 4th one, I was like, wow, that in itself, people buy rental properties, Shanda, all the time, single families. And if they make what you make on your 4th, they're happy just on the 4th one of this property. Like it's a winner deal,
Yeah.
So go ahead and you found this property, you got it under, did you negotiate a lot? Were you able to use your education in that negotiation process? Talk a little bit about that if you could.
Absolutely. So they were listed. So this is also a good story because it's not all a glassy slipper story. So I, again, have had other real estate investments. I've done a buy and flip, I've done that and I've rebuilt it, but this was a unique project. So one I did when I walked through, particularly the multi, I'm saying to myself, wow, why is this still on the market? Well, that's because, I didn't know what most seasoned investors knew, but they were asking, I believe, for 169 for this particular one. And they were asking for 159 for the one next door. And I was, so in the education, one of the classes they have is negotiation. And they talk about, negotiating deals and where you make your money. You make your money on the front end of the deal and so many different things. And again, I'm just, all right, I got all of these tools. Let me try them, So I actually threw out for both of them. I think I threw out like 220, something ridiculous, like 220. And they countered. I was like, wait a minute. We're in this. So they countered, and we ended up settling on 125 each. So that was a huge savings on both of them. So yeah.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. And I love that, again, you've shared already. We could end this property tour right now, and I would go away from it like not only super fired up and inspired, but and I already do the business, but super up and fired and excited and inspired. But I've already got several golden nuggets, several reminders. Sometimes you hear something and you know something, but then you come back across that verbiage, or somebody reminds you, it reiterates something, and again, what you just said is you make your money on real estate on the front end. You
Yes.
make the money when you acquire it. Yeah, you make the money when the money goes in the bank, when you make your profit dollars. I get that. But unless you make the money at the beginning, like you get it at the right price because the numbers work, that's where it is. And I'm so glad that you share that with folks, because a lot of times people are always just looking at the end. And it's okay to look at the end, but you got to reverse engineer it back to get to your beginning. And so that's cool. So you acquired it, you were able to negotiate, you were able to save some money up front, which obviously gives you a lot of leverage, right? A lot of leverage on what you were going to put in the rehab, how you were going to tweak this thing out, come up with your finishes, your staging. It affects everything, right? It affects everything. So you got it under acquired. So how long, and we were trying to remember when we got started today, you were on October, November, December. I should know that. I should have looked that up beforehand.
It's okay.
How many months did it take you, though, from when you acquired it to when you were starting to rent it?
Oh, too long. Too long. This is why I say that this is not a, fairy tale Cinderella story. It's a real story. On the other side, I came out on the positive, the good, but this is like real life. So I acquired them, both of them, in December of 2020, December of 2020. And the first one, I was able to, the one that I knew that I just needed some, light sprucing, I was able to get that up and rented within about 4 or 5 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
And then, so that was good. So that was at least income producing. And then this one, I think we took maybe a month off. It was like the winter. So then it probably took me total about 18 months to get this one done and rentable.
I know you experienced it, because I remember from before, there are so many hurdles you went through, and so many there, and I know we only have an hour today, because we want to show pictures and we want to show numbers, but you could maybe mention a couple of the hurdles. But I tell you what, the fact that you stuck with it, I am telling you, there are many people out there that would have gone through these challenges that you had, and they would have just said, switched their hands together and say, I'm dumping the project. And you stuck with it. I mean, I so admire you for that. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just thinking about it, I just got some tinglies down my back and neck a little bit, So maybe mention a couple of the challenges, because I know we would need like 3 days maybe to cover all the challenges.
Yes.
But maybe a couple of them you could share with folks and how you overcame them. I think that's good stuff to share with people.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. Listen, this project, if nothing else, I tell people all the time, this is my PhD in life, in the sense of my PhD in education, and I paid for it. Okay, I don't need to go back to school for another degree. I have it in this property. Okay, So it absolutely hurdles. I mean, you're talking about from contractors, you're talking about from inspectors, from building supplies. We were in the middle of a pandemic. When you're talking about different projects in the house that I didn't see and I didn't anticipate. So I did not anticipate having to rewire the whole house. So me being a new rehabber, in the sense I had done one before, but not to this extent. I did not understand this house being built in 1905 would have certain challenges that another house would not. I did not understand what wood paneling on a wall might indicate, that it might be original construction, that it might be plaster behind the walls and not drywall, that it might be knob and tube electric. So, I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
That's awesome. Well, again, like I said, I know we don't have time to share all of them, but the fact is that you stuck with it. You were able to overcome them, get to the finish line, and be able to produce really good numbers here. So, do you have some pictures you want to share, folks,
Sure,
from like when you first acquired it?
sure.
Yeah, I'll let you go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, I have a million pictures I could show you, but I am only going to show you, trust me, I do. I'm only going to show you some because my gosh. Okay, so let's get into it. This is the property. It's in I call it Lincoln Avenue. I call it Lincoln Manor. It deserves a proper name after everything that I went through. This is Lincoln Manor, Prospect Park, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Philadelphia near the airport. It's a corner property, almost 2,000 square feet total. It sits on a really nice lot. It is a corner property, built in 1905. I should have paid attention to that, but I didn't. So, and the original list price was $16,999. How do I go to the next slide? How do I do that? Oh, there we go. Okay, so it also has a 2-car garage. So this is like a pulled back street view of it. And here's a 2-car garage and a shed. This is important because this is what Scott was so excited about. Not only do I have a rental with the property, I also rent the garage and the shed. So out here, people rent garages and sheds. So it is an additional stream of revenue for me. Just a little bit of the deets here. When I bought it, this is what they were telling me. The first floor was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It was in decent shape. It was vacant at the time. The previous person paid $950 for rent. The second and third floor had a very, very weird setup. It was currently occupied and it was pulling in $500 for the second floor, $330 for the third. Quickly, when I say weird setup, it evidently at one point had a separate entrance for the third floor, but it did not at that point. I guess the township had made them tear off the steps, and the third floor person was accessing his unit through the second floor person's bedroom. It was very bizarre. Yes, it was very, very bizarre. They knew each other. One person had been living there 20 years. One person had been living there 19 years. There were a lot of red flags here, but I still forged on. It is definitely, it has a nice parking lot. I saw that, and it has a standalone double garage that rents for $250 a month. And I got that strategy, that renting the garage strategy, actually from the township inspector. He was very nice to me. He came out, we ended up talking, you know, I guess he threw me a bone. He saw that I, you know, was new within this sort of thing. And he says, hey, you know, I have a bunch of garages and people out here rent garages. I said, really? How much? And he says, this garage could get about, you know, 200, 250. Really? So put a sign out there, got a slew of people. I was shocked. So the garage is definitely another set of revenue for me. The second property, just to give you a little bit of insight on this as to why I bought it and how it helped me. We're not talking about that today, but it's important to this story because they kind of fit together like a puzzle. So the other property is right next door. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, plus a huge top space, fenced in yard. It was in good shape, needed light repairs. The current tenant was paying $10.50, but it was move-in ready. And it had a 3-car driveway plus a detached garage. I mentioned that because the garage, I actually don't include, oh, well, let me go back. So I spruced it up, made it really nice. I actually rent it out for $1,600. So the previous people were renting it for $10.50. I rent it out for $1,600. I see your face, Scott. Yes, I rent it out for $1,600 a month, and I do not give them the garage. The garage is my rental space that I keep all of my supplies in. So I don't have to pay for a garage for all of my rehab stuff. So that is like my storage garage. So they get the house and the yard. It has a nice basement, the whole 9 like that. I keep the garage. It's right next door to my multi. So it won for everybody. So this was the deal. I kind of talked about them and, you know, what I offered, what I ended up paying, so forth and so. These were my savings. Let's get into some pictures. Okay, so this was the original downstairs of the multi. So this was the kitchen right here, and this was the side bedroom. I'm going to show you some before and afters. I'm going to show you some demo. My demo was insane for this property. This was the front room, and this was the living room. The bathroom was wonky as I don't know what. Okay. This is my demo. I tore it up. What I didn't know is it's not drywall. You can't just move walls. This house was built in 1905, and if you can see anything, it's plaster, it's slats, it's wood, it's unbelievable. So once you start moving and tearing into stuff, yeah, it just opens up a can of worms. So this was my demo, some of it. This was the first floor. So my plan was I kept the 2 people upstairs in place while I renovated the downstairs. So at least I had some income and some revenue coming in for the property. They had been there so long. They were living in squalor, which you're getting ready to see. So my thing is I wasn't putting them out. There was no way they were finding any place else to live for $500 and $380. So they were happy I wasn't putting them out. I only worked during the daytime. So in the evenings when they were home, they weren't bothered. So they at least gave me revenue to carry the house. This was the old kitchen. This is the new kitchen. These are the renovations that I did on the first floor. This is the old side bedroom. This is the new side bedroom. Currently, the property is listed on short-term rental. We'll get to that in the end. So I do have it set up, it's staged, and it is currently renting. This was the old bathroom. This is the new bathroom. Downstairs, I got washer and dryer in there, new sink, bumped out the wall, just destroyed the whole bathroom, as you all can see. Second and third floor. So as I said, the strategy of that was for me to do the whole first floor, let them stay. I anticipated it would be 6 months. It ended up being 8 months that they ended up being upstairs. Then once they left, I was able to go up there. I'm going to show you some pictures that you probably won't be so happy with. This is the second and third floor. This is how they were living. And I cut down on a lot of the pictures because it was just bad. This is the living room and their bedroom. And this is, believe it or not, when they left out, they pretty much left it like this. So my demo and my waste and dumpster cost was ridiculous. Their old kitchen, the old bathroom, bad. There's a nice deck on the property. Going up to the third floor, these are pictures of that loft, and it was just in really, really bad condition. Their bathroom and bedroom up there on the 3rd floor. Pretty bad. Demo. Again, when you start taking stuff down, I don't know if you all can see, but up in here, this is original electric. Needless to say, I had to run all new panels, all of that. I did not anticipate all of this when I took this project on. Did not, but we were here now. The walls were open. Reframing, complete demo. Now this is the rebuild. Complete demo. This is that nasty bathroom that I just showed you all. Completely demoed. Before kitchen, after kitchen. Just so you can kind of see, move some walls. So that's why this is at a different angle. This wall right here was open before, which is this, and I closed this wall, opened it from the other side. This is the living room, which was his bedroom previously. This is the bedroom now. Bathroom. Took everything out, put in a stand-up shower, all of that kind of stuff. This is that 3rd floor. This is the loft, all cleaned up, painted, shiny and new. This is the bathroom on the 3rd floor. So, we ready to get into numbers, Scott? You're on mute. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
I can.
My bad. Let's go up here. We had a couple of questions.
Okay. How do I stop this?
So Maria is interested in knowing the income. Okay, we'll get to income, Maria. Everybody's always interested in income. I'm with you, Maria. Can she speak again another time more on her challenges? Yeah, Jordan, I am going to work with Shanda on that, and maybe we're going to do something together. I just have to talk to her about it. Yes, Carla, thank you for a powerful journey. Great job. Boy, I think most of it's compliments. How long were the properties on market? You answered that, a few months. Yes, you negotiated through your agent. How many square foot was the 1 bed, 1 bath that you're renting for 6? Was it 1 bed, 1 bath? Damien's asking that question. Do you know what he's asking?
The 1 bed, 1 bath? I'm not sure that.
Is that,
I mean,
is that one of your, is that one of the 3 units is 1 bed, 1 bath?
there is a 1 bed, 1 bath on the 2nd and 1 bed, 1 bath on the 3rd floor. Yes.
But the other one that you bought at the same time, that was
that
how
was
many
a
beds?
2 bed, 1 bath. Yes.
That you're renting for $1,650, and how many square feet is
1,600.
that?
1,600. It's not huge. It's not huge. It's maybe only like 1,600 square feet. It's not huge at all. 1,500 square feet.
Right. Okay. And then Edmund's asking, is there a way we can determine the initial materials used to construct a property? So Ed, do you want to take that, or do you want me to answer that one?
You
Shanda?
can.
So yeah, every project obviously is different. Every project is unique. Every project has its ups and downs, its surprises. Obviously, no matter how much education you have, no much how much knowledge you have, how much experience you have, there's still going to be surprises. There's still going to be what we call oops. Okay. But the more knowledge and the more experience you have, obviously, you're going to limit those to small oops and small surprises. And when it comes to materials, so every project uses different, levels of materials. Like Shanda in this particular situation, she gutted it to the studs. So, not only is there a large demo cost, and I would imagine, I'm not putting words into your mouth, but you probably underestimated your demo costs.
I did.
Because the dumpsters can add up really quick.
Yes,
I remember I had a project, I budgeted 10 dumpsters. It was about $5,000 just for dumpsters. Do you know it ended up being 15 dumpsters? So I have a saying now, if I think it's going to take 3 dumpsters, I'm going to budget for 5. If it's going to take 5 dumpsters, I'm budgeting for 7 or 8, because it's just always that. So, and then there was other things you came against, but it's coming up with materials. You literally got to look at your majors first. Okay, this is what our education teaches us. You got to look at your majors first. Those are your largest. They typically, your majors add up to about 60, 70% of your costs of a demo of a rehab project. So you're looking at HVAC, you're looking at electrical, you're looking at plumbing. Okay, you're looking at roofing, you're looking at the foundation, the structural, the windows. You're looking at your large cost items, and that is a great starting point. But every project is different. We do have a really cool software program, and I'm not sure you use it, Shanda. I have used it. We have a great software program that you have access. If you're a part of our community, you have access to that, and it literally ties you in where you can figure out, like, you could type in like what zip code you're in, and it'll give you a rough idea of how much it costs to put a roof on. Okay, it'll give you like tap you into Home Depot, where it'll tell you like lighting, like your lighting fixtures and your plumbing fixtures costs. So, but yeah, there's some really cool stuff. Continue to tie in with who invited you, and they can help you with those things. Were you budgeted for the scope of work you were not aware of? Well, I think Renee's asking that question. So roughly, how far were you over budget on your like expenses, like your rehab, roughly?
Extremely. I would say a lot. So I would say about 70,000, 80,000.
70 or 80,000, which is a lot. I mean, 70, 80 on a 300,000 rehab is a lot. 70 or 80,000 on 150 is a lot. So, but because of your knowledge and things that you gain through the community and stuff like that, and you're going to talk about your income, the numbers worked out for you, correct?
They did. They did. If not, I would be crying in my soup right now. No, but they did. They absolutely did. But I had to pivot strategies. So through the education and the community and things of that nature. So for me, I had never done a short-term rental. I had always done just long-term rentals, buy and holds, that sort of thing. So that was my reference point. And I have a crew of female real estate investors that we kind of get together and talk and share life, share real estate, share ideas, share fears, cry, all of that. So we kind of encouraged each other, and they were right there with me every step of the way. Times that I was like, I can't do this, they were like, you're doing it. So I believe some of them are on the call today. I can't see right now just because I'm on a different screen, but thank you. If they are on the call, they got me through. They were able to help me through this. Scott, what did you want me to, what did you ask me?
We were talking about the expenses, like you were over budget and how the numbers worked out. I know another question that came in is they're wanting to know about how how you figure out the numbers and stuff like that. So you came up with an estimate on what you thought the expenses and the repairs would be, and of course, once you started opening up the can of worms, as somebody referred to, your expenses got a lot higher. But with time and everything, let's talk a little bit about how you pivoted.
Yes.
And then talk about your numbers here, if we
Deborah
could.
Brick and Maritza are on it. They're reminding me where I was. I appreciate it. Yes, I pivoted. So I was traditionally used to long-term rentals. I have 2 girlfriends that do short-term rentals, and they were saying, listen, the income on the short-term rental is very different. Maybe you should try that. And I was like, I don't know about this. I've never done it, so forth and so. And at this point, I was just so happy to be done with the project. There were walls, there were floors, there was running water. I was so happy to be done. I said, I just need to get a tenant and get rid. They said, listen, you're talking about your debt. Let's just try it. And I literally had a person in the community, a friend of mine, say, listen, okay, you don't want to do short-term rental? Okay, rent it to me. Rent it to me. And I'm going to short-term rental out of your property. And when you see how much money I make, you're going to want your property back. And she knows my personality. I said, heck no, I'm not doing that. You kidding me? If you're going to make money in my property, I'm going to make it. Let's do it. So she literally came over, drugged me out of my house. We went to the furniture store and bought beds. She knew once we bought beds, it was on. So we bought the beds, put the beds in the rooms. And then from that point, she just kind of turned me loose. And I am a very good, one of my unique skills, I'm really good at sourcing materials and sourcing things. So I'm at the thrift stores, I'm at Habitat for Humanity, I'm shopping, and I furnished the place for, I was balling on a budget, trust me. Furnished it, it looks really nice, it's super clean, and they are absolutely right. The money that I make from short-term rental is more than I would have made from long-term. Even with the additional expenses it is to run the short-term rental, it is definitely more profitable.
That's awesome. You want to go ahead? We've got about, looks like about 13 minutes.
Okay.
If you want to go ahead and share your screen on numbers, I do want to throw this out for everybody because we've got quite a few folks on today. If you're on today and you're a guest, or maybe you're just getting started with our community, maybe you just got started, and you want to learn more about our community and more about a lot of things that both Shanda and myself have talked about today, we have an overview of our community and our education, and it's a lot more deeper in depth than what we can cover right during this tour. It's on right after this. It's 5 minutes after the top of the hour. It starts right at that, so don't be late, but you'll need to get that link. It's a Zoom link. It's not this one. Get back to who invited you. Just shoot a text over or something to the person who invited you, and they can get you set up with the link, and you can get on there. And there is Q&A. It's very interactive. It's amazing information. And I've been on it, even though I'm a part of the community, I've been on it a half a dozen times myself because I'm always learning something new and I'm always taking something away and, that type of thing. So who got back with invited you, and they can get you that link. And if you're already part of our community, you can go into your back office or your calendar and get signed up and get that link. So go ahead, Shanda, take it away.
Okay. Quickly, let's go through it because I want to leave time for questions if anybody else wants some. All right, it's not working.
We see exit strategy.
All right, here we go.
There we go.
So appraisal, when I got it, so let me go from the beginning. I bought it at 125. It originally appraised for 160. So when I bought it, it already had a little bit of equity. Yay. That was from the negotiations and getting in the entrance price. At the end, it appraised for 365. My all in with all expenses and this and that and so forth and yada, 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 325. Closing costs and all other things. I had a little bit of a surplus there. I pivoted strategies. We talked about that. The long-term rental revenues, these were kind of my rough numbers. So the first floor, I felt like I would rent the first floor for approximately $1,500 and the second floor for approximately $2,000. So I could get a potential earning for about $35. With the short-term rental, the first floor was renting for short-term for about $21, the second and third floor. And these were per night rates. If I do like nightly rates, like on an Airbnb, and then these are monthly rates. So the potential earnings were a little bit different with the 1,500 different. So I said, that's additional 1,500 a month. I could use that. Average monthly intake. So these are the figures that Scott was talking about that I did not have prior. So I sat down last night and I did my average monthly intake. The reason why I like these numbers, and I think that these are important, because a lot of short-term rental platforms that I get on, they go into, I'm taking in this much money, I'm taking in, but they never show their debt services. They never show their monthly expenses, maintenance, supplies, and all those things. So you get wooed by, oh my God, they're taking in $10,000 a month. But these are actual real numbers to kind of really tell you where I am. So I'm taking in, this is average. Some months are higher. Some months are a little bit lower, but the reason why they're lower is because Scott kind of mentioned this. On the second and third floor, I have midterm rentals. So I have people that are staying for like 2 months or a month or whatever have you, and they're not paying that nightly rate. So whereas though I may be pulling in, a higher rate if I rent it on a day rate, I'm taking a lower rate like 1,200, 1,300 for a month. So on this first floor to second floor. So it's giving me about $47.50 a month. My debt services are about $2,000 a month. I spend about $75 in supplies. My utilities to run this, gas, water, electric, all that kind of stuff, cable, Wi-Fi are about $350 a month and about $75 maintenance a month. Some of it is, flexible, but these are the averages. So my monthly average profit on this property is about $22.50 a month, plus my garage and shed. So add that additional $300 a month into this. So that is my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Bam, bam. So, wow. I mean, I know you're smiling from ear to ear. I'm sure there was times during that 18 months, maybe you weren't smiling ear from ear. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I mean, smiling, crying from ear to ear.
So again, we've got a few minutes here. Let's talk a little bit. So when you acquired the property, you share those numbers, the savings you got. When you went into it, how did you fund it? Did you use a mix of your money, private money, hard money? How did you acquire the property? And you don't have to get into super details, but how did you acquire it?
Everything in the kitchen sink. Now, so I used my private money. I ended up using a hard money lender. It was during the time of COVID. I learned through the community that there was the time that you could convert funds from your 401k, your retirement, penalty free. I used that money, and I used seller financing because there was a couple of, I think it was like $10,000 that I was just short when I went to settlement. And I just said to the lender, to the seller, hey, listen, I need 10 grand. She says, okay, I'll seller finance it to you. So that was another strategy I learned through the education. And she seller financed it to me 0% interest for 2 years.
0% interest for 2 years. That was amazing. That's
Thank
amazing.
you, Deborah Brick. I love the energy.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So yeah, you used all kinds of strategies to get it acquired, and then you ended up refining it. How did you? So talk a little bit about that. So from the original, were you able to pay your retirement fund back yet? Were you, talk a little bit about what you did as far as getting to this point where you're at now? Because you showed a debt service, and I would imagine the $2,000 a month would be your principal, taxes, insurance, that type of thing, right?
Yeah. I did not have to pay my retirement back because I had left that job. So therefore, I just took and converted that money that really I had not invested it well, and it was invest. So this is something else you learn in the community about self-directed IRAs and how you can use your own money to invest in yourself. And I bet on me. And I have more of a return from that little bit of money. I think I may have taken like $40,000 out of my retirement and put it into this property. This property is worth more and is paying me more than that money in anybody's, market or equity fund or anything like that.
That's amazing. Well, again, I'm just telling you right now, from me to you, I could be on a Zoom with you for like 24 hours and I wouldn't be tired. I'm telling you, I would be wide awake. My eyes would be wide open. I would be so engaged in it. This is just great conversation. I love what you've been sharing, but we've got to get close to wrapping up. I'd love to have you out again. I got a little idea that I'm going to run by you here in the next day or two, but So how would you like to leave everybody today? How would you like to share, like, again, let's think about the people that are on today. You've got folks that maybe had just got started with our community that have never done a deal before. Maybe they've got a rental property and they're thinking about doing a short term. Or again, how about the folks that are on today that are trying to figure out, is this the right community to connect to? And should I make the plunge? Should I take the leap of faith? Should I get started? Should I start watching my education, get knowledge, start building relationships? Oh my gosh, that is so valuable, relationships. Can you kind of wrap things up for the group and kind of maybe share a little bit of word of wisdom, or maybe something that kind of like leave people with?
Absolutely. I mean, for those of you that are on here and you're thinking about getting into real estate, one, I mean, land is a commodity they are not making any more of, period. So anything that they're not making any more of, it's worth having. So definitely invest in real estate. Get into the community, get education. I mean, when you have competency, then you get confidence. So you get your competency through education, and then you have the support of the group. So you have other people that are going through the same journey or different journeys, and you get a chance to learn. There's also partnerships that you can build. There are so many things that helped me in this deal that I heard from someone else in the group. That I just picked up, and it was a nugget, and I just kind of took and put it in my pocket. So definitely get connected with the group. Find your person, connect with them, somebody that you can be truly transparent with. I have a group of folks and the community up here. We can really talk. Everything's not all roses. Everybody's not all confident. You go into it and you know everything. No, you don't. Sometimes you're scared. Sometimes you're nervous. And it's good to be able to have people that you can say that with, and they can talk to you and help you with it and give you ideas. And you have the education, putting all of that together. It's a win-win.
Well, that's awesome. This has been so fantastic. I am so honored that you took your time out of the day to share with everybody your story, your deal. And I can't wait to get you out again at some point. And I really appreciate everybody who joined us today. Please come out next week at the same time, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be up in the Minnesota market, and we've got a great property tour lined out for you there. You can bring a spouse, bring a friend, bring a sister, bring a brother, whatever you want, and join us. And it'll be well worth your hour spent. Shanda, if I was there, I'd give you a huge, big hug. But for right now, I'm going to give you a high five over the Zoom, and look forward to
everyone. Thank you for taking your time. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for listening to my story. I appreciate it.
You're awesome. All right, guys. We'll have a great Saturday. We've got, oh my gosh, what do we got coming up? We got Mother's Day coming up next Sunday, don't we? That is awesome. So we'll see you next Saturday. And everybody have a great weekend. Take care, Shanda. Take care, everybody.